I believe Emma. This 4-part video presentation provides overwhelming evidence that the prophet Joseph Smith never practiced polygamy. In February of 1879, Emma Smith Bittaman was interviewed by her son Joseph Smith III. Among the questions asked of her, 6 of them were of plural marriage. This interview would be known as the last testimony of Sister Emma. 2 months later, April 3rd, 1879, Emma passed away. During the interview, Emma bore a strong witness of the Book of Mormon and expressed her thoughts and feelings related to plural marriage. The questions freely asked and answered by Emma were later published in the Saints Herald on October 1st, 1879. I find this interview fascinating and will return to it shortly. Considering Emma's last testimony as documented proof, it's shocking to read what the church wrote here. What did Emma Smith know about Joseph's practice of plural marriage? Emma did not leave any contemporary record of her thoughts, feelings, or experience related to plural marriage. Unbelievable! Emma absolutely did leave a record of her thoughts and feelings related to plural marriage as she was interviewed by her son. Next question. Did Joseph Smith practice plural marriage, or was it introduced by Brigham Young and others? Joseph Smith introduced the practice, not Brigham Young. Wow! More than just a declarative answer, this is absolute affirmation. I believe its purpose is to end any investigatory discussion or further debate of the matter. This church-approved answer makes several of the folks pictured here very happy, for the church's narrative is also their narrative. This statement not only provides authorization and ammunition for their podcasts and book sales, but also the potential penalty of excommunication for anyone who crosses this line. That line being any member of the church who publicly disagrees that Joseph Smith did not start the practice of plural marriage. Also, the hodgepodge of characters you are looking at are made up of active Mormons and anti-Mormons. Yet they all have 2 things in common. First, that is the belief that Joseph Smith started the practice of plural marriage, not Brigham Young. And second, they have made their crusade into a business model, a money-making enterprise bordering on priestcraft. This sample of podcasters and book writers are among millions of people who also believe Joseph Smith was a polygamist. However, Emma Smith did not believe it, and I believe in Emma. So do these people seen here. They too believe Emma. They also believe Joseph told the truth, that he was not a polygamist. And because of their public positions and even in their private conversations, they have been targeted. They have come under attack. And many have become ecclesiastical casualties for their beliefs. All of them are warriors seeking only for the truth. There are no business models here. They're not doing this for money. They are truly standing for something. There are many others who could be pictured here. I honor them all for their courage and sacrifice. Let's now go to Emma Smith's final interview, conducted in February 1879.
What about the revelation on polygamy? Did Joseph Smith have anything like it? What of spiritual whiffery?
There was no revelation on either polygamy or spiritual wives. There were some rumors of something of the sort, of which I asked my husband. He assured me that all there was of it was that in a chat about plural wives, he had said, well, such a system might possibly be if everybody was agreed to it, and would behave as they should, but they would not, and besides, it was contrary to the will of heaven. No such thing as polygamy or spiritual whiffery was taught publicly or privately before my husband's death that I have now or ever had any knowledge of.
Did he not have other wives than yourself?
He had no other wife but me, nor did he, to my knowledge, ever have.
Did he not hold marital relation with women other than yourself?
He did not have improper relations with any women that ever came to my knowledge.
Was there nothing about spiritual wives that you recollect?
At one time my husband came to me and asked me if I had heard certain rumors about spiritual marriages, or anything of the kind, and assured me that if I had, that they were without foundation, that there was no such doctrine, and never should be with his knowledge or consent. I know that he had no other wife or wives than myself, in any sense, either spiritually or otherwise.
What of the truth of Mormonism?
In writing for your father, I frequently wrote day after day, often sitting at the table close by him, he sitting with his face buried in his hat with the stone in it, and dictating hour after hour with nothing between us.
Had he not a book or manuscript from which he read or dictated to you?
He had neither manuscript nor book to read from.
Could he not have had, and you not know it?
If he had had anything of the kind, he could not have concealed it from me.
Mother, what is your belief about the authenticity or origin of the Book of Mormon?
My belief is that the Book of Mormon is of divine authenticity. I have not the slightest doubt of it. I am satisfied that no man could have dictated the writing of the manuscripts unless he was inspired. For when acting as his scribe, your father would dictate to me hour after hour, and when returning after meals or after interruptions, he would at once begin where he had left off, without either seeing the manuscript or having any portion of it read to him. This was a usual thing for him to do. It would have been improbable that a learned man could do this, and for one so ignorant and unlearned as he was, it was simple impossible.
Could not Father have dictated the Book of Mormon to you, Oliver Cowdery, and the others who wrote for him, after having first written it, or having first read it out of some book?
Because we're saying that he had, and we'll talk about this, 6 or however many years to write, creative fan fiction, basically. And then all he had to do was find a way to dictate that in a way where his scribes wouldn't catch on that he was dictating something pre-written.
Joseph Smith could neither write nor dictate a coherent and well-worded letter, let alone dictating a book like the Book of Mormon. And though I was an active participant in the scenes that transpired, and was present during the translation of the plates, and had cognizance of things as they transpired, it is marvelous to me, a marvel and a wonder, as much so as to anyone else.
Many of you may know who Glenn Rawson is. I think his description seen here is very accurate. Uplifting, faith-promoting stories of real people. Glenn has often been compared to the radio host Paul Harvey for his unique way of telling uplifting stories. I love listening to him and recommend his podcast. This screenshot is a couple months old, and at that time it showed he had 532 videos. He has since added about 30 more. Now here's what's amazing. When I clicked to see what his most popular videos were, Emma Smith's final testimony came up as number 1, and number 2 wasn't even close. I recommend go to Glenn's YouTube website and watch the entire video. In the meantime, here is part of that video.
Behind me, you're looking at the mansion house, the home that was built for Joseph and Emma Smith in 1843-44. They moved into that home, and that's where Joseph and Emma were living when Joseph was killed. It was also there and near here where Emma Smith lived out the rest of her days from 1844 till the time of her death. And I want to share a story of something that happened right here. On February 4th, Joseph Smith III, the president of the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, came here and paid a visit to his mother, Emma Smith. And Joseph III was troubled. There were questions he had to ask his mother while he still could. And all those questions, it seems, centered on his murdered father, Joseph Smith Jr. Accordingly, Joseph III wrote down a series of questions to ask her. And these are some of those questions that Emma responded to. I'm going to read them verbatim while you're looking at this home. Not only does this stand on record as her final witness, but it is a compelling testimony from the very one who knew Joseph Smith better than any other. And if there was ever anyone who could have known that Joseph was not telling the truth, it surely would have been Emma. And she is the one who had the character to say so. And to the very end of her days, she affirmed that Joseph Smith Jr. was a prophet of the living God and that the Book of Mormon is true.
In addition to the church's website on plural marriage, let's turn now to one of its current history books, Saints, the Standard of Truth. Because neither Joseph nor Emma wrote down how they felt about plural marriage, many questions are left unanswered. Not true. Joseph himself left no record of his own views on plural marriage or his struggle to obey the commandment. Wow, this is so not true. Joseph Smith left the greatest record any man could on his views of plural marriage. And in my next video, I will show you that record and much more. Emma too disclosed nothing about how early she learned of the practice or what impact it had on her marriage. Again, not true. The writings of others close to them, however, make clear that it was a source of anguish for both of them. Wow! Let's bury the words of Joseph and Emma and rely instead on the writings of others. The only thing made clear is the false narrative being pushed. Let's go back to Joseph himself, left no record. In my next video, I address that statement. And here are some scenes from my next video.